There's two ways to give over information, depending on how you understand it. So if you're giving over something like how to get from A to B, so you can give over how to get from A to B, but if you've never walked the path, so then you don't really know how to go from A to B. So if you have walked the path, so therefore you've had the information originally that taught you how to get from A to B, but now you've gone, you can change it a bit because it goes inside your kalim, and therefore when you're describing how to get from A to B, you're not just repeating what somebody told you, it's going through your own seichel, and the way in which you understand it yourself. So you're really part of giving over those directions. Now, the big difference between them is when you just give over exactly as you were told, so E equals MC squared. So the E equals something, the M equals, I don't really know, but I know it's true and I can tell it over. So when you give it over, so everything that's in E equals MC squared is, when I give it over, all the secrets, all the everything revealed, everything in it, it's exactly as it was said. So I'm not losing anything. Mr. Brewer says that sometimes he'll just quote Rishonim, because there might be things in the Rishonim that he doesn't understand, and therefore if he puts it into his own words, then it will be lacking if he doesn't just quote what they say, and also they'll just be saying it better than him. So when he can, he'll just quote the words of the Rishonim rather than put it in his own words. And these are the two ways, but obviously when it's in your own words, so therefore it's coming from a level of understanding, a level of coming from yourself. So it's coming from you. You're in the information as you're giving over. You can develop it and you can explain it in a way to the makabel that's not necessarily clear in the way that it's given over in its undiluted form. So devarim starts with Eile devarim. Eile is like in the third person, so it doesn't come from God, it comes from Moshe. But all 5 books are coming from God. I mean, the 5th book of the Torah is not on the same level as the book of Navi. So there's a difference between the first 4 books and the 5th book. So the first 4 books is Moshe is just the mouthpiece for God. Whatever God wants to reveal in the Torah, so Moshe is just revealing it. So Moshe is not in it. Like the first way of understanding the information, just give it over exactly as you got it, because there's a lack of understanding. Since there's a lack of understanding of what it is, because it's too high to understand, so therefore you're just giving over. So you're just saying how to get from A to B, how the guy told it to you, because you don't know how to get from A to B, so therefore you have to rely on what was already told. However, the book Devarim is coming to the kalim of Moshe, and it's all coming from God. However, it's coming through the kli of Moshe, it's coming through the seichel of Moshe, coming through the das of Moshe. So therefore he's able to bring it down to a level in order to teach the Jewish people, and that's why it's called Mishnah Torah. He's going over the whole Torah. Why is he going over the whole Torah? Because he's then able to bring the Torah down from this infinite level into a way, again, it's the same Torah, it's the same godliness, it's just coming out through different kalim. Since it's going through the seichel of Moshe, and as it says in the Tanya that everyone represents Moshe and everyone has a bit of Moshe in him, so therefore the point of the 5th book is that it's just as divine as the other 4 books. However, the way that's coming into the kalim is completely different. The klapi, the makabel, is completely different, and because it's coming into the makabel then in the 5th book, so therefore the other 4 books you're also able to come into the makabel. So if there was just the 4 books or the 5 books were all done the same way, so therefore it would remain in a state that's beyond the seichel, remain in its godly infinity and not being able to makabel. So comes the 5th book, comes into the das of Moshe, is able to makabel it on the level of life here, the level of asiyah, the level of seichel of man, and therefore the whole Torah then therefore can get a conduit into the life of man and allows the Torah to be makabel here. So that's why that's different. Even though the 5th book is not completely different madrega than the other 4 books, it's still as divine as the other 4 books, but the kalim are different.